Let's talk about attracting $10,000 clients. We've been talking about the makeup of the $10,000 project. We talked about being a director. We talked about full production. So where do you actually find these $10,000 projects or clients? And once you find them, how do you actually attract them to come to you? Now, the where to find them, that's a different conversation. And we'll talk about that in the future, right? In a future video, and I'll show you how you can get access to my content that'll show you where to find a client. But when you do find them, or when they find you, how to actually track them, that's what we're gonna talk about today. Now, if you're like me, you're probably thinking you probably need a big office, need a big old team, and you need to have lots of experiences. That's what I initially thought when I first got my start. And so I went to pursue that. First, I went to Craigslist, found me a basement, and I got an office. This was like years ago. I think I was paying like $800 a month, and I spent about 6 months renovating that office. Literally going to YouTube, learning how to build walls and build floors, and I put the office together, and I did it. And the office was cool. It was exciting, and people were proud of us, and et cetera, et cetera. And I did it not because I needed an office, because before that I was working from home. I just thought I needed an office so I can attract bigger clients. But the reality of it is that it didn't help us. They didn't work out. Eventually, after 3 offices, we ended up closing all of our offices and went 100% remote in 2017. Since then, we've been able to close even bigger clients and bigger projects, and they've never seen us, right? In person, it's all via online or via email and etc. So yes, an office could potentially help legitimize your business, but that is not the main reason that clients are attracted to you or why they'll say yes to your $10,000 proposal. So you may say, okay, then it's because they have a big team, right? I thought so too. So I went and hired everybody and their moms. Anybody that I knew, hey, you want to be an intern? Hey, you want to just, hey, hold a title. Because I wanted to look big. I thought if I looked big enough, people would be like, oh yeah, they're legit because they're the right team for me. Look at their size. They must be successful. It didn't work out. Not only did it not work out, it drove us to bankruptcy, and the list goes on. Story for another day. But it's not because you have a big team. And the third thing is you may be like, oh, maybe it's because you have experience. Now, I'll say experience matters. So I'm not going to not say that it matters, right? But experience is also relative. As an artist, as somebody who's good at something, there could be a time where you've been at something for 2 years and you're better than somebody who's been doing it for 10 years. So experience is relative to the individual. So it's not a clear and cut thing to say just because somebody's been doing it longer that they're better, especially in the creative world. So then, Jacques, if it's not those 3, then what is it, right? The reality of it is actually relatively simple. Doesn't make it easy. A, your clients have to believe that you actually understand their problem. And B, they have to believe that you can actually solve their problem. And the operative word here is believe, capital B. They have to believe it. You may actually be able to solve their problem. You may actually understand it, but they have to believe it. So you're saying, Jacques, are you gonna show me how? Yeah, I got you. But let's do a real life example of this believe, solve, that kind of thing, right? So you're watching this course right now, and I'm not sure how you got access to it. Maybe you saw an ad and purchased it. Somebody told you about it, you purchased it, you bootlegged it, or whatever. I don't know, right? But either way, there's a problem that you as a creative or a freelancer have, whether that's I want to charge more money, I want better clients, I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, I'm this, I'm that. And these are all the problems that we call out on our site. And so initially, the fact that you see that these problems are mentioned, then you see this brother talking and he's saying this and he's saying he went through it, that may be a little easier for you to be like, okay, I could see he understands my problem because he probably went through the same thing. So the next part is, well, then do I believe that he can solve my problem, right? Well, you're here for a reason. Whatever got you to check out must be something you saw that made you feel like I believe he can help me solve it. Whether that is in the examples that I gave, whether it was the step-by-step that I said, here's what we're gonna learn, whether it's the testimonials, whatever it is, right? And so this is an example of something where you saw something and it showcased the believe that you can solve my problem and believe that you can, you understand the problem. So to do that for a client, it actually breaks down into something I call NPPP. The first N stands for niche. Then the first P stands for problem, then position, and then process. Let's break it down. So in order for your clients to believe that you can solve their problem and also believe that you can actually understand their problem, one of the things that helps is you actually having a niche that specifically solves the problems of that particular client. So for example, Going back to the creative freedom 10K proposal world, right? All of the classes that I teach are for freelancers and creatives and agency owners. So if you're one of these three groups who fall into that creative freelancer type person, that niche is very specific to you. There's a reason why we don't have mechanics or electricians, or I don't know why I'm saying all these construction words, but we don't have them in the actual program. Although the things that I teach can actually help them too. But the branding and the niche is going specifically to those individuals, or which are freelancers, right? And so by seeing that, oh man, this is specifically for freelancers and I'm a freelancer, you have the, oh, that's for me effect. And that'll increase your chance of trusting that this place or this person understands your problem and can solve it, because you have a niche that's specific to that individual. So, but how do you go about finding niche? And I know that's content that's covered in many places, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. But here's how we find niches in Creative Freedom world. So the first thing is I want you to imagine a diagram, right? So you got circle 1, circle 2, and circle 3. So 3 circles, 1, 2, 3, and they merge, and right in the middle, it forms like this little triangle thingy, right? And so your goal is you want each circle represents something, and you want to find the thing that kind of fits into all 3 circles. Circle number 1, we're going to call that industry. Circle number 2, we're going to call that skills. And circle number 3, we're going to call that passion and interest. Industry, skills, passion, and interest. And so you want to think about, how do I find something that fulfills all these 3 perfectly in perfect harmony? So for example, this is your next assignment. I want you to grab a piece of paper or whatever you can. I want you to first draw these 3 circles and have them interconnect in the middle. It's all good if it comes out as an oval or square. I ain't judging. So once you finish your circle, I want you to then write under the circle, write 3 words. Industry, underline, in the same, industry underline, interest/passion underline, and then skills. So we're just gonna make 3 columns. And under each column, I want you to write at least 5 to 10 of each of those things. So 5 to 10 industries that you are either good at, have experience in, or would love to spend more time working in. 5 to 10 industries: travel, education, tech, finance, whatever. Drop it in there. And then right next to it, I think we had said we switched it. We did the interests in passion. What are things you like? Shopping, traveling, playing video games, dressing up. That's fashion, right? I like taking care of people. That's nonprofits. I like people. I like talking. So write a list of certain interests. I like to sleep. Whatever your interest is, drop them down there. And then on the 3rd column, I want you to write the skills that you have: graphic design, UI UX design, mobile app design, PR, writing, whatever creative skill you got, right there. And your goal is you're trying to find the perfect trio, right? Of boom, 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 that could make sense. So for example, let's say in your industry, you put travel or hospitality. In your interest, you put traveling. So industry, hospitality, interest, traveling, and skills, you put PR. Maybe that means you can be a PR agency specifically focused on helping either companies that focus on travel, or traveling groups, or those, what's that thing in the countries where they actually like the traveling board, I think they call it, whatever, I forgot the term, right? So, but you can be that. Or maybe you say, I'm gonna do the same thing but for hotels, because they're part of the hospitality and travel industry, right? Or for tours, like Chaka Chaka Tour in Jamaica, or I think it's Chaka Tour, something like, anyways, right? So that could be an issue you could focus on. Or maybe you say, I like to learn as my skill passion, my passion interest. I love education industry, or e-learning or learning or whatever. And I'm a designer. Maybe you could be a graphic designer for colleges or universities, helping them create the art, the designs that goes on the hallways or on their websites, or that goes out to the students that ask for donations, etc. And if you're worried about, yeah, Jacques, but if I go too niche, won't I be losing opportunities? That's the point. We want to focus as much as possible, because when you have a niche, you're gonna be able to charge a lot more money than other people could, right? And if you're worried about not being enough customers, let's think of an example, right? Dry cleanings. There are, I believe, at least 8,000 dry cleaning facilities in America. Like just think about dry cleaning, something nobody really thinks about. There's at least 8,000 stores that you can think about, or that's in America. So that means there are 8,000 potential leads for you to go after if you wanted to be the web design company for dry cleaning businesses or whatever, right? And even with them, I don't know within your lifetime if you can properly fully go through 10,000 or 8,000 leads, especially if you're a niche for them. It will make sense. They may want to work with you. So, and by the time you go through and work with as many as possible, more will be open. So whatever niche you think about getting into, chances are you're going to be able to have potential customers for that niche. But we don't want to stop there. So I want you to start by identifying at least 5 pairings or trios that you feel comfortable in at least trying out or testing out. These don't got to be final. We're just going to test them out. And so then once you have that confirmed, now I want you to do 3 things. First, I want you to ask yourself, is there money in this niche? And the way you help answer that question is you start researching, are there anybody else out there that is serving the same niche? If there are, great. If they're not, I'll think twice. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We don't want to be the first. We don't want to do none of that, right? We want something that actually works so we can actually learn from people who's done it before. So I want you to go to the websites of at least 5 companies that does the same thing that you're trying to do. Look into their testimonials, learn what people are saying about them. For example, somebody would say, man, my website was in shambles, but when I met whatever, they helped me do the X, Y, and Z. You can learn a thing from them, right? Or our sales were dwindling, so as a result, we hired this company. And all these things they say, like why they hired the person, could help you understand why people would hire you, right? Or the problem you can help people solve when we start talking about problem. Right? And so if in the case studies or the portfolio, they're like, our website needed to be brought back to the 21st century, right? Or we needed photography to properly represent our brand, or we needed a new brand identity to bring us into the modern age, or we needed copy that would convert our customers from A through Z. All those things they're listing are potential problems that you can use as you're like, this is what I do, right? It's just like if you say, man, I bought this course because I just wanted to find a way to charge $10,000 or I wanted to charge 5 figures. I look at that and go, or if you leave that as a testimonial, man, I wanted to charge $10,000 and now I closed a $35,000 project. If I'm somebody else starting a new class with the same topic, I'm like, oh, what homie said could be the problem that I help people solve. I help people solve the issue of trying to find $10,000 projects, right? And so look into their case studies, look into their about us, learn as much as you can about them so you can try to help answer the question of, do they actually make money? That's the first thing. Just knowing that other people have been doing it. And as a bonus, if you can use Wayback Machine or something to be able to see how long that company's been around or their website been around, that'll give you a sense of if this industry actually is worth it to be in. Second question I want you to ask yourself is, can they actually afford me, right? We're gonna talk about that in future video where I help you understand how to price each client and how much you need to charge or whatever. But as you go through that, I want you to keep that in mind. Can they afford you? Once we figure out what your number is, we're going to say, when we go through all the niche possibilities, we wanna make sure they check off the box. Is there money in this niche? Yes. Can they actually afford me based on my standards? Yes. And then the third thing I want you to think about is, do I have any competitive advantage in this niche? So competitive advantage is essentially like something that you have that other people don't. So for example, I'm a college professor. So I gave an example earlier about an education or educator being a designer for universities. In a case like that, right? In a case like that, I have a competitive advantage. So if you were looking to hire a designer for a university, you have 3 people and I'm one of those 3. And one person's like, I've been a designer for 5 million years. Another one's like, yeah, man, I'm just getting started, but I'm great. And it's like, hey, I've been a designer for equally 5 million years. I also teach at university. Who are you gonna go with? That slight competitive advantage will let you win in the instances where all the skills and everything match. So do yourself a favor and pick some industries you may have experience in. For example, I used to dance when I was younger. So as a result, maybe that means if there's like a dance type of thing, you may wanna focus there because you have a competitive advantage. It's easier for you to close that sale. And it's also easier for you for the research and conversation because you already understand that world. And people will hire somebody who understands that world. So that is how we go about finding the niche and how we go and confirm, which is, do they have money? Can they afford me? And do I have any competitive advantage? So that concludes the niche part. Now in the next video, I'm going to talk about the other ones: the problem, positioning, and process. I'll see you then.